Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And on tonight's episode, we're going to be playing my Necro here, and I'll show you what he has. He's actually level 10 right now, almost level 11. He just needs a little bit less than 2 bubbles to get that next level, which will be pretty nice. As far as the equipment goes, it's pretty standard cloth for the most part. There's a few pieces of this right here, this damask armor that I've gotten from Buffallen, which is pretty nice. It's clothing or cloth so that casters can wear it, and it has a few pieces of AC, but not too much in the way of stats. There's no stats on any of the pieces I've found, and the AC is pretty low, but then you kind of have to expect that from cloth armor. There are a few pieces that I've gotten from friends, and then a majority of it actually has been from strangers, such as these pieces right here. I got the earrings and the necklaces from another Necro who was actually upgrading his armor, and I was sitting in front of the Dark Elf City, and he happened to run by, look at my stuff, and see that I was a newbie, and give them to me. So yeah, the people on this server are incredibly nice, and yeah, you'll constantly find people who will just run by and give you stuff just out of the kindness of their hearts, which is pretty cool. As far as the robe goes, some guy was doing a trivia night, and if you answered the question right and was the first one, you got a reward, and mine was the flowing black robe, so that was pretty nice too. So not all of them just give you stuff. Some of them actually kind of make it fun or challenging in different aspects. But basically what we're going to go ahead and do tonight, guys, is try out a different zone, one that you guys haven't seen yet. Northern Row is where we're going, the desert of Northern Row. So right now we're in Eastern Commons, and you guys are probably very familiar with this by now. On my Shadow Knight and my Necro, we've spent some time here. The best way to get there is just to run through the zone over to the tunnel where everybody sits to sell. And again, I've showed you how to get over here many times before, but anytime I show you where a new zone is, I'm always going to do it from a certain point on the map that you guys are very familiar with. And Eastern Commons is one of those landmark zones that pretty much everybody who plays will get very accustomed to where it's at and how to get through it. So when I go to Oasis or to Guck, I'll start here and then move over to those zones. That way, if you guys are not sure how to get there, you can at least follow me that way. The main reason for doing that is, in this game, getting around to another zone can be very hard to do if you're not familiar with how to get there. And that's kind of cool. It actually makes it where getting to a zone is a journey in itself, and sometimes very dangerous. There was times where I could have gotten into a group, but I felt like exploring, and so I would literally just go off in a weird direction, someplace I had never been before, and see what was there. I didn't know if there was going to be a zone entrance. I didn't know if that would lead to another place, and so on and so forth. I just went off and started looking around. Now, we went through the cave entrance, and I've mentioned this before in the zone that when people were selling stuff, they'd even call it out, and they'd be like, I'm sitting at the third torch, like this one right over here on the wall, or I'm sitting at the zone entrance. That way you can find them a little bit easier. On my server, when I was playing, everybody used to sit in here. And this is where people would bind themselves, and this place would be packed with people. And the reason a lot of people did that is there's NPCs over here you can actually sell to and buy stuff. So after a long day of questing or raiding, you teleport back to your bind location, which a lot of people would put here, because again, if you're raiding or questing, chances are you're going to have a few pieces of loot every once in a while, and this is the place to sell it. And if you were questing or just grouping, chances are you're going to have quite a few pieces of junk that you just want to sell to an NPC. And again, there's one right here. The only thing this area doesn't have is a banker, but there's several towns close by, so whether you're good or evil, you should be able to get to one fairly easy. So yeah, this is why I would suggest this place as a pretty good bind location for you. But again, your bind location is going to change all the time. Pretty much wherever you go, you kind of want to bind yourself or get a bind from another player if you're not one of those classes who can do it themselves, somewhere close by, because you're going to die eventually, and you can't always rely on a res. My cleric, he had a different playthrough, because again, as a cleric, you can bind yourself pretty much anywhere, and then when you die, you get to res yourself and you get to res everybody else. as my Shadow Knight, almost never did I get a res. And that's kind of why I even made the Cleric in the first place, is I got tired of looking for one. And so I made the Cleric on my brother's account. And that way, if I died, I could res myself. A lot of people did that back in the day when you were paying monthly and all that stuff. So it was very much the thing to do if you did a lot of soloing and you wanted to be able to res yourself every once in a while, because there would be days where you would log on, go off and solo, and you would quite literally die like 10, 15 times in a row. It's just one of those bad days. Let me go ahead and put up my pet real quick. And, if you have a cleric to come over there and res all your corpses, yeah, you lost a decent amount of experience, but nowhere near as much experience as you normally would have if you didn't get those reses. Even a low-level res is better than nothing in high levels where you can lose quite a bit of experience. Another good thing about the bodies that you can use for your advantage is if you do a duel with another player and you die, which will be you get defeated, you don't lose any experience, but you do die. You go back to your spawn point, and your corpse is put there on the floor, and you have to run all the way back to your corpse. This is a good idea to do if you're not very familiar with a certain zone. You want somebody to drag your corpse through the zone and then res you on the other side. They can do that because, one, you don't lose any experience, so even a low-level res can just zap you back to your location, and two, it's pretty nice to leave a corpse there if you did die, or even just in a duel. That way, if something does happen and you need to teleport, gate back to your town, sell a whole bunch of stuff, they could res that corpse several times. You're not going to get any bonus experience or anything like that, but it's basically a cheat to get you back to your location. So we are over in the northern desert of Ro, and you'll see this thing right here, this tarantula, is red to me. There's a few other things in this zone. You can go to the right, and that will take you over to the Oasis. Now, there's two ways to get to the Oasis that I would suggest. One is to follow this mountain range right here and go all the way down, straight ahead. Basically, you're not going to have any twists and turns or any big hills that you kind of have to walk over and get hurt if you fall off. It's a pretty straight shot. The only thing that's going to get in your way is the dervish camp. And it's pretty good experience if you can get into it. There's not one on right now, and it's 2 or 3 levels higher than what I am right now. Most of them are yellow and red to me, so I can't really fight there yet. Oasis is also a few levels higher than me. If I was in a group, I could probably hunt there, but there's not a lot of groups going on right now because it is kind of early in the day. So in a few hours, I think I'm going to try again and see if maybe I can get into some groups over there. But there's a whole bunch of stuff to this zone. So like if you come over here, let's see. Decaying skeleton is green. This is actually a pretty safe area to come to if you need to med up and things of that sort. But again, it isn't for evil people. So if you come over here, you'll see guards. In fact, I think I just saw one right there. Yeah, there's a guard right over there. If I click on him, he is dubious to me. So yeah, you definitely have to con the NPCs and make sure that you can be over here. Of course, you do have skeletons over here, even low-level ones, and that's pretty good because then you can get some bone chips. So let's send our little pet off to kill that guy pretty quick. I'm sure he'll do it. Yeah, one hit. There you go. Let me go ahead and loot these. An armadillo. Let's see what level is that. Green. So we're gonna leave that alone. More guards. So let's go back over here. There are creatures in this zone that I can kill for experience. And as I said before, there's 2 different ways to get to the next part. I've already told you one. The other way is to go over to the beach, and that would be the way I would suggest. That guy's green as well, the jackal. And now, to get to the beach, you're just going to do exactly what I'm doing. You're going to go straight ahead. You just kind of have to avoid the roamers. In this zone, it's pretty much all roamers. So there's no specific way I can tell you, okay, over here you need to take a left and go around this creature who spawns over here. They spawn in the zone, and then once they spawn, they pretty much just roam around. So this guy's blue. I think we're going to go ahead and try to take him on. He's indifferent, so he's not ready to attack. We don't have to worry about getting ads. But again, like I said before, there are roamers in the zone. In fact, that's all you pretty much will find other than the dervish camp. And because of that, there's really not a good safe place to pull in the middle of the zone. You kind of want to pull to the outskirts, but you do again have to be wary of the guards if you're evil, and then wary of... There's mummies that spawn over here, there's some really high-level undead, and then of course the dervish guys that are pretty tough, but it's a good camp to get into, and really, really good experience. In fact, I'll show you what the camp looks like, because I think on this this video we're just going to be running around this zone. I know Kevin said he wanted to see the Oasis, and I will do a video where I go over there. I'm just not sure I'll be able to do very much killing unless I can find a group, because again it is kind of high. It's a jackal. Now he's green, but I guess he's ready to attack threateningly, yeah. So you can get the spider silk, and this stuff is really, really good. It stacks, and it sells for quite a bit of money, because anybody who's working on their tailoring skill will need quite a bit of that stuff to do their skill and raise it up a little bit more. So nothing on the jackal. You'll probably find different types of pelts on those from time to time. Oh, great. Let's see a fisherman. What is he? He's ready to attack, but he's green. So you could come over here and you could kill that guy, but the downside to killing these kind of people... Oh, hold on, let me back up a little bit. Dubious, and she's red. The downside to killing NPCs is usually you will get pretty horrible faction with at least one group of people you didn't really want to take off. So most people will leave NPCs alone. There's a few people out there who don't care, and they've gotten killed by NPCs enough times that they're like, oh, okay, this is payback, and they're sit there and camp them and kill them and stuff like that. But so it's kind of hard to use it as a rule of thumb, saying that if somebody else is attacking it, the chances are it's safe for you to do it. Not always the best method, because, like I said, there's going to be crazy people out there who don't mind messing up their faction for whatever reason. Maybe that's not their main character. Maybe it's part of a quest for their epic to mess that up and then fix it later on down the road. You just never quite know what's going on in somebody else's mind or with their character, so you kind of have to play it your own way. And again, depending on what class and race they're playing, it may not be bad faction for them. It actually may be good faction for them. So yeah, it's definitely something to consider. Plus, another hard thing to tell is, just because you're looking at them and they look like a dark elf, or they look like a gnome, or they look like a high elf, does not necessarily mean that is what they are. They could be wearing an illusion, they could be an enchanter, and they can turn themselves into anything, basically. I know rogues can get a mask from Lower Guck that turns them into a dark elf, so they may have started the game as a ogre or a troll, and now they're running around like dark elves because of the mask, and it has unlimited charges. That mask, by the way, guys, is usually there for free. It spawns over in the assassin summoner, or yeah, it's assassin room. I don't remember what the other guy was called. I can't loot that? I got experience for it. How can I not loot that? That's weird. I mean, I know my pet killed most of it, but still. Huh. I don't know why that's the case. I definitely do want to put a heal on my pet. Bring him down a little bit. Where's my heal? Dark Empathy? No, is that it? Mend Bones. Dark Empathy is the spell you want to get so that you can heal other people in your group, or just other people in general. It takes your life and gives it to... oh, there we go. I just wasn't close enough to the corpse. That's what it was. And it gives it to another player, which is pretty nice, because Necros, as I said before, can steal life away from the enemy and give it to themselves. So if you do that in good timing, then pretty much you can sit there and heal up your entire group. A Devilish Cutthroat, which is red. This is not the Devilish Cutthroat camp that I was talking about earlier. In fact, it seems like somebody's over here. Ah, he's red too, so what level is he? He is a level 13 Necromancer. So that's what he's doing over here. He's killing these guys, I think. So this is the beach. You can come over here, and this is a safe way to get to the Oasis. You can just follow the shoreline. It's pretty nice. It's actually kind of peaceful out here. You can just sit there and look at it. Occasionally, I think it rains in the zone, but not too often. I think I've seen it a couple times. And again, guys, if you're not a fan of the rain, you can always hire a druid. I think they have to use like a pearl or something, which is actually kind of expensive. but they can use that and actually stop the rain in its tracks. I remember my brother always did that, and the reason he did that is because when rain comes in, it actually creates fog and it lowers the visibility of the zone. And when he was in a zone, he was soloing and he was actually pulling the creatures in a large, figure 8 pattern or something like that, and blasting the creature, bit by bit. And if you can't see where you're going more than like 100 feet, your chances of running into an enemy that you were not expecting while you're soloing is increased, and it's going to be a horrible outcome, just because usually when you're soloing you can handle one creature and no more. And if you get just an extra one, even if it's a green one at higher levels, they still hit pretty hard, and that could be the difference between you winning and losing, because part of pulling for a druid could be snaring him, then rooting him, and then sitting there and blasting and dotting him. If you're fighting another green, well, then you're not sitting there meditating during the fight, and again, that might cost you the fight. So yeah, there's different tactics to use and different ways of killing creatures, but sometimes the actual zone gets in the way, or the weather. So that's a cutthroat as well, but he's yellow. What is this over here? And she's red. And they're indifferent right now, actually. Huh. So I know you can kill them, and I'm pretty sure they probably give you faction for killing, so you're going to have to watch out for that. Let's go ahead and pull this guy. Now, my idea to pull is to always use your snare, and the reason I like to do the snare when I pull is, one, it slows the enemy down, and two, if you pull the creature with the snare and it turns out that you actually got the aggro for, say, 2 or 3 more creatures, then at least one of them is so slow that he's not really going to be a worry. You can run away from those creatures. You may have 2 of them on your back hitting you the whole time, but that third one, the original one that you pulled, won't be hitting you at all. He's going to be walking to you, but so slow that he won't ever be able to catch up. So it just gives you that little boost, that little extra advantage that you might need in a pretty bad fight to get away, just in case something goes wrong. So I like to pull with that as a Necro, but if you see that there's multiple creatures there, then if you're a paladin or a cleric, use your soothe or your lull to make sure that you can just pull one creature at a time. And again, with a Shadow Knight or a Necro, you get Fatigue Death, which means you can use whatever spell you want to pull the creature, and then if you get too many, just Fatigue Death. The creatures will see you as dead and go back to their positions without continuing on to attack you. That's if it actually goes off the way it's supposed to. Occasionally Fatigue Death fails, and what will happen is your guy will fall onto the ground like he's dead, and then continue to get beat by whoever was aggro to him until pretty much you are dead. So yeah, it's kind of rough. This guy is yellow. Let's try him. I don't know if we'll win this one. If we don't, we'll have to run to the zone line, which I think we're not too far from, because again, we don't have Fatigue Death just yet. And look at that, you can see just how slow he's moving. This is a lifesaver, by the way, guys. If you're in a group, you may have noticed by now that when a creature gets pretty low on life, occasionally he'll realize that he's outmatched and decide to run away. This will happen a lot more at higher levels. And it's kind of even worse to happen at higher levels, because most of the time you're in a dungeon, and dungeons are very, very close, compact zones. Sometimes they're really, really big, but they're still very tightly compact with creatures and rooms. And if you have a creature running out of your room, chances are it's going to aggro other creatures, and that's not going to be good for you. I don't know if we're going to win this one. Let me do one more min bones and then check the life of the creature. He's at 41%, so I need to put some more dots on him. Hopefully this will kill him. Oh no, he resisted. Sucko. And he resisted that too. Okay. Let me go ahead and heal my pet up. Maybe he can kill it off. It probably would have been okay if I had just continued to heal my pet rather than try to get fancy with my spells, but I wanted to end it off a little quicker. Let's see if this works. What is he at now? 19%? I don't know if we're going to win this one. Our pet's pretty low. We'll just have to see. We do have a dot still on him, the disease cloud, but it's only doing 1 damage every tick. Not a whole lot of health. Oh, there we go. He's down to 3%. And our guy's down to 13%. Oh, man, that was close. 5% left on the pet. Now, granted, once the pet was dead, I could still, sit there and melee the guy down myself, but the pets take damage way better than you ever will. So even if your pet is holding their own, don't expect, especially at higher levels, to be able to do that. Don't expect that once the pet dies, you can step in and finish the creature off, because chances are he's going to hit you 1, maybe 2 times, and then you're dead. That's just how low your hit points are. I mean, I can even show you what my hit points are right now. It's 158, and it's not that low compared to what my cleric is. I think I was at like 200 and something at this level where my cleric was concerned. But when it comes to like a Shadow Knight or even a warrior, yeah, that's really nothing compared to what they have. And if you're wondering how to tweak your class, maybe trying to figure out at a low level what's the best armor to get, basically the best armor you can get at a lower level is anything that gives you hit points. There's armor out there, and mainly jewelry, that will give you an enormous amount of hit points. I'm talking like 65 points of hit points per earring. And if you put 2 of those on, that pretty much doubles the amount of health that I have right now, which is those 2 earrings. And you can do that with your necklace. You can do that with the veil. There's a lot of pieces of armor that add, 25 or 35 extra little life, extra hit points. Like this one right here. This one has mana instead of hit points. I know I had a few other ones on here that add health. Let me see any of them. If I can find them. Where is it? Oh, like that one, that weapon. It adds +5 health and +5 mana. So it's not going to break the bank. I mean, that's not a huge increase. But as you can see, with 158 hit points, extra 5 is actually kind of nice. It's that little bit that might save your life. And if you actually went out and got really good pieces for all your armor that actually added hit points, then you would be so much better off than most of the people who are playing that class. And you got to remember though that you do want whatever your skill is, the intelligence or the wisdom, whatever that stamina or whatever the stat is for your class. You want that too, but at a low level, you don't get the full benefit of those stats. At higher levels, that's when you can take advantage of it. So it's almost like you want a different set of armor at a low level, and then as you start getting to the mid-range, then you could start switching over to the armor that you're ultimately going to be starting to wear for the rest of the game. So it is one of those things that progresses with you. I mean, you're not going to be the same from level 1 all the way to level 50. You can be, but it's not really worth it. I mean, you're better off actually picking and choosing your armor. And plus, for the most part, I remember having an entire backpack full of charisma armor, I should say, guys. Sorry, I can't speak tonight. So that you can put that stuff on when you go back to the town to sell and buy food and do things like that. So you are constantly changing your armor anyways. I'm going to go ahead and sit down so my guy can med up a little bit. He's pretty low. And then I'm going to try to take on this madman over here. These guys actually roam this area quite frequently, and they're kind of a random spawn that pops up when you least want it to. I remember way back in the day when I was actually in this zone and hunting in here with groups and stuff, and you're killing the dervish camp. Occasionally you'd have one of these madmen walk up on you when you weren't expecting it, and just that one guy, that one extra stupid ad that you didn't want, that you weren't expecting, would completely and totally wipe your group. So yeah, you definitely have to pay attention in any zone that has this many roamers. And it's a complete and total different experience from a group most of the time, because in dungeons, oh, that guy's even. Oh, we're definitely going to try to take him on. A shriveled mummy. But we're going to need full power on that one, so let's sit here for a minute. Okay, so I think I can give my pet a weapon. Yeah, I do have a rusty dagger, so let's give that to him. And again, the reason you give your pets weapons, because they do a little bit more damage with that weapon. You can give them a really, really good one if you want, but I would not suggest doing that. Because if you do, When he dies, you lose that weapon. When you zone, you lose that weapon. If they had it where you could give your pet the weapon and then take it back from him later on before you zoned, then yeah, maybe then it might be worth it. But unless you literally do not need or can't make any money off of that weapon, I would not suggest giving it to him. I know in EverQuest 2, they made it so that when you summoned a pet, he went with you to the next zone. You didn't have to keep summoning a new pet. I kind of like it this way, to be honest, guys, because the reason I like this a lot better is strategy. You know, you have bone chips, and you only have so many of them, and they cost like 10 platinum for a stack. So you don't just use them willy-nilly because, you know, you have to go back either to mine them yourself and kill skeletons, which you're not making any experience on, or you spend money that you earned in a group to buy those so you don't have to waste the time. But when you go to another zone, there's some zones that are on the verge of, yeah, sometimes they're dangerous, but most of the time they're not. And so you may risk trying to get through that zone without a pet, just to save yourself a little bit of coin or a little bit of... let's kill that rattlesnake. He shouldn't be too hard. He's only green, or blue. Right there, okay. I was going to say, I told my pet to attack and he didn't do anything. Now, I won't use too many spells because, again, we are saving up our power to take on that mummy up there, but I think he should be able to do this pretty fine. Oh, there's another rattlesnake. What level is he? Oh, he's green. So, yeah, some pretty low levels in here, but most of them are blue, if not higher level than I am at level 10. So you just kind of have to pick and choose. You kind of have to go through some of the higher level ones at the same time you're fighting some of the lower level ones. And I kind of like that feeling too, because when other games you play as you level up, you begin to feel like you're just like this god. You know, you get some really good armor, you get some high levels, you get all these AA points, whatever the case may be. Eventually you're walking through the zone and you're like, yeah, everything in here gives me experience, but I don't really have to worry about anything because I can kill it all. In this game, they didn't ever want you feeling too big for your britches, basically. They always put something in here to make you feel a little bit, you know, vulnerable, because you'd be killing all these creatures and you're really racking up the experience and everything's going okay, and then out of the middle of nowhere, a level 60 creature comes by and just wipes everybody. What is a level 60 creature doing in a level 5 zone? I don't know, just because they wanted to, because they wanted you to feel like you're not the top dog. No matter where you go, there's always a bigger fish in the sea, and they wanted to drive that point home. And it was kind of cool because you always had your head on a swivel. You were always looking around to make sure that if something did sneak up on you, you were ready for it, because you knew that there were high-level creatures in the zone. There's high-level creatures pretty much in every zone of this game that you have to be aware of. Oh, look, there's a giant out there. That's cool. We may have to fight him eventually, but not anytime soon, because I think he's a pretty high level. So I'll let my pet get some aggro on him while I back up. Dude, get the aggro, man. This guy's gonna kick my butt. Dude, what are you doing? Oh, he's invulnerable. Oh, crap. I forgot about that. Okay, so we are definitely not fighting him. Oh, I'm gonna lose my pet. That sucks. Okay, guys, so remember that the shriveled mummies need a magical weapon to be able to be hit. And I do have a magical weapon, but my pet doesn't. And even though he is a summoned pet, it doesn't count. I know you can land your spells on him, but because he's even, I'm not sure if we could kill him with just our spells alone. Plus, he's doing a lot of damage, so we're just going to go ahead and zone it. And that's the zone line right there, guys. Literally right there. It's very, very hard to know where the zone line is coming unless you've done it so many times. Because there's no line, there's no sign saying, oh, here's the zone line. There's no mountain you have to run through for a lot of these. It's just out in the middle of the open, and I kind of think that they wanted to make these zones just one giant, massive zone, but they didn't have the ability back then to do that. But it was kind of cool the way they did this. I can't loot this corpse at this time. Why not? Doesn't even have a timer on it. Oh, there it is. That's actually a person, I think. 2 days? Yeah, that's a person's corpse. He he made himself look like a skeleton. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cast my pet. Now, we just went through the northern of Row, desert of Row, I'm sorry. Now we're over in Oasis. So we're going to go ahead and check this zone out a little bit. Maybe kill a little bit in this zone as well. As you can see, there's quite a few players in here. And maybe we can get into a group. I am pretty low. Everybody's around 12 to 15. I don't think I could get into a group, but there's tons and tons of Necros in this zone, guys. So there's a zombie skeleton over here. And there's another crypt mummy. Scowls at you ready to attack, and he's super red. So I am backing up. Holy crap, a sand giant. He's red as well. Come over here and hide behind these guys. So yeah, it's a necromancer and a mage, apparently. I'm gonna hide. There's a puma out there that's green. Wait for that guy to go by. Oh, here comes a caiman. This is what most people kill. Oh, he's a crocodile. And he's red. And yes, he is ready to attack. Most people will kill the caimans. They're a little bit further down. You could see them over there on the dock in the distance over here to the left. The thing to be aware of in the zone, guys, is there is a named crocodile called Lockjaw. And he is the bane of your existence if you're hunting in this zone, because there's no way to tell when he's going to pop up. And when he does pop up, he pretty much will wipe the floor with anybody he sees. And occasionally you'll be running over here, either traveling through the zone or doing something, and you'll see, you know, 30 or 40 low-level people all running in one direction, and you're like, what's going on there? Is there a party or something? No, they're literally all running away from Lockjaw because he's that hard. And it usually takes a high-level person or somebody who's a little bit higher level than what you would normally have hunting in this zone before, you know, somebody kills him, basically. So, yeah, he's pretty tough. So let's go a little bit further down. I don't know how well we're going to be able to do over here. As I said, it's pretty high level compared to what we're at. We only need 2, maybe 3 levels before we can hunt over here, but sometimes that's all it takes is 2 or 3 levels. Deep-rotted crocodile ready to attack. And there wasn't this many over here earlier. I don't know if I can get over here without getting attacked by these things. It's kind of... Oh, great. More giants. It's actually the same one, but he's coming back. So I may die here in a minute. I don't know. Oh, great. What is this? Zombie? He's only blue, so we might be able to kill him. But those docks right there that we see right there in the distance, this is where most people will sit. And for the most part, you're quite safe here. If you pay attention, obviously all the corpses here makes it look like it's not safe. And of course, if Lockjaw comes by, yeah, then you're going to definitely notice that it's not safe to be here. Oh, it's yellow, so we might be able to take on a couple of those. In fact, let's put our LFG on and do a shout and see if anybody wants us. Well, not a shout, but an OC. Because there's a group over here. No, go back. Let that guy go by. And then I'm going to come over here to this group and see what they're killing. Here we go. There's a body up there on that giant pillar. You can go under the water, of course, guys. Let's see. She's red. All these guys are red. He's only yellow. Let's go see if they have any room. Oh, no, they don't have any room. Look at that. 2, 4, 6 people, yeah. Their group's filled. But as you can see, there's groups here, guys. There's one over here. There's one down there. On the other side of the docks that you guys saw, you can see some crocodiles in the water. So make sure that when you're running along the beach that you're very careful that you don't get those as well. But they're just racking it up here, man. They're going to town. Now, there is something to be aware of in this zone. If you go a little bit further in this direction that I'm pointing, you will see specters. Basically, they're floating incarnations of death is what they look like. And they will kill you very, very, very quickly. They're high-level creatures. I believe level 35 to 40. But don't hold me to that. They might actually be higher than that. It's been a while since I've killed them. All I know is for a very, very long time, you're going to be avoiding them like the plague. They are avoidable. You can see them coming, and you know where they're at. They're right over there. Oh, great. Who's attacking me? Dry bones. Red, no! Run! Actually, I think I'm going to gate out. Can I gate? Is he going to make it? I might not make this. There we go. Holy crap, I can't believe we made that one. So guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end the episode here. That was just a short video of 2 different zones that I think we're going to go ahead and hit up fairly soon as I can get this guy another couple of levels. And it's probably going to, unfortunately, have to be over at the Orc Camp in Eastern Commons, because that seems like the only place that I can get in. I might be able to get in over here at Oasis if I wait long enough, so I may come back over here. But I have to talk to him, send some of them a tell, and see if maybe I'm too low. But if I'm not, I kind of want to spend a little bit of time in some zones that I haven't been to before. So we are back over here where my buying location is. So again, guys, if you like these episodes, please hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely helps grow my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you have any comments, tips, and tricks that you want to share with the viewers, make sure to leave that down below, and I'll go ahead and give that information out on the next video, and make sure to give you credit for that as well. And it will help out the viewers, I'm sure. It's always nice to get a little bit of information on the game, because I don't have it all. Nobody has it all. It's a game that is incredibly complex, but it's still accessible to people who don't know very much about it. And it's kind of nice that it is as complex as it is, because that allows you to constantly learn and enjoy other aspects of the game you weren't even aware of when you first started. So this is where we're going to leave the episode, guys. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.